Hello, everyone. Today is a great day and a great time together. I hope you're ready for a very great learning experience. You're highly welcome. Please let's take some minutes to hold on for others. Please, if you're ready, I want to see you in the chat room. Please indicate in the chat room, I am ready. I am ready to learn. I'm ready to unlearn. I'm ready to relearn. I hope you all had a great day today. And I hope you're ready for a very great time learning together. Please, are we together? Please indicate in the chat room, I am here. I am ready. Indicate in the chat room, I am ready. So let's continue with our topic today. And this is episode 2. We actually said the biggest mistakes people make with their finances before and after retirement. And like George Foreman said, he said, the question isn't at what age I want to retire. It's at what income. Let me repeat that. George Foreman said, the question isn't at what age I want to retire, but the question is at what income. So that means that at this stage in our life, our question, our concern isn't just about the age you retire, but about with what income, with how much in your pocket are you retiring with. Okay? And now there's another quote which is common with us here, and that quote is that we should make hay while the sun shines. This holds true for all workers. Okay? That means that your retirement should be your golden years. It should be when you reap the rewards of decades of hard work. But if you do not save enough to cover your living expenses, or if you didn't plan well, or if you get hit with bad luck, retirement can be a time of financial stress. Okay? And remember, like we said, life expectancy has actually altered. That means that if you retire at age 65, you can live another 20, 30 years. You realize that you spend, as in your working years, will actually cover even more or almost the same number of your retirement years. You must have worked for 35 years and you still live for another 35 years after retirement. It is what you do now that counts. That's why we say make hay while the sun shines. Make hay while the sun shines. Now, our first point here is being house rich but cash poor. What do you mean by being house rich and but house poor? Remember our first point? Our first point, number one mistake people make is when they are house rich but cash poor. What do we mean by that? You know, a whole lot of people want to have houses, you want to have buildings as much as you can, as much as possible. But you need to balance it. That not only will you be house rich, but you should also be cash rich. Okay? Why are we saying that? A lot of people are paying for houses, for their mortgage, and they may pay for it for a majority of their lives, you know. And that means that so much money is going to your income, your housing income, and so much little cash left when you retire. So while housing values rise, there are ongoing costs. Remember, cost of taxes, cost of utilities, cost of repairs, cost of maintenance. It can be very high or expensive, honestly expensive for a retiree. And remember, by the time you retire, your children would most likely have left home. So if this is the case, what do you do? Think about selling or renting your home or moving to a smaller or more affordable house. Okay? And remember, you can even invest the remaining funds in more stable income. You can consider, downsizing your home to save more money. Then, now, what do you do? How do you handle being cash house rich but cash poor? Number one is you can move into a smaller and comfortable apartment because the expenses on the utilities, maintenance would reduce. Another thing you can do is that you turn your house investments into money generating ventures. You can convert that big house into schools, into hotels, into a shopping complex, into home rentals. You can rent out some part of the apartment because a whole lot, there are people that have retired, okay? They must have built big houses to accommodate the many children, the many relatives, the many visitors. But these children would have, as they are grown, they would move on with their life. They'll move out of the house. And you realize that a 10-bedroom apartment is just for you and your spouse. That's why we suggest that it's either you move to a smaller apartment, but make sure it's comfortable. Let it be comfortable. Or turn that your house investment into a money generating venture. Use that house to generate money. You can convert that house to schools. You can convert it to hotels. You can convert it to shopping complex. And we said you can rent out the houses and the house. At least I have a mentor, okay, that as at when the children, they own a school, but as at when the children had all left for hostels and boarding house, they still had a very massive compound. What they did was to convert that apartment, very massive building, okay, into another school. The compound was very large, and it helps to generate money and even keep you busy as a retiree. So we've talked about being house rich but cash poor. Another mistake people make with them, that can affect them before and after retirement is not staying active socially and physically. Not staying active socially and physically. When you retire, you do not simply leave your job. You miss out on previous opportunities to stay active, both mentally and physically. But fortunately, there are still many ways to stay active, after retirement that can help you live a very happy and fulfilling life. Please, being socially isolated and being physically inactive are two of the worst things you can do after retirement. Why? It's very critical that you maintain social connections, okay? And, spend time with friends and family on a regular basis, as well as participate in social groups, social activities. It's very, very important because this will help you even maintain your funds, because the money you would have spent on a what do you call it now, drugs, medicals and all that is saved for better things. And remember, your mind is like a muscle. Your mind is like a muscle. That means if it's not used, its abilities will deteriorate. And like we said, one of the mistakes people make is not being physically and socially active. Okay? So since your mind is like a muscle, if it's not used, like we said again, its abilities will go down. So read books, solve puzzles, and converse. Simple interaction, conversations are excellent ways that will keep your brain sharp and functioning. Don't be reclusive, okay? Don't spend too much time in front of television because this will take over your life, okay? But ensure you have physical activities, because physical activities, okay, will not only keep you mentally and physically fit, it will also lift your mood and also keep you happy well into your golden years. So what do we do in this case? Number one, stay physically, mentally, socially active. Why? Because it will always ensure a good, healthy, and more fulfilling life. Number two, find the right surroundings. Find the right surroundings. Why? Where you live can actually have a good impact on the quality of your life. Number three, create an exercise plan. That means that you should prioritize exercises, because this will help you improve your flexibility, it will help you improve your strength, it will help you improve your balance. And when you take exercise as a pattern, as a lifetime, as a lifestyle, you realize that you're living better, you're living healthier, you're living longer. So walking, swimming, cycling, those are simple activities. Another thing you can do to stay physically and socially active is to find a new purpose. Find a new purpose. That means that with more time in the day, you can use it productively to benefit others while still living an active life. Find a new purpose. Or if you already know your purpose, discover your purpose. Put yourself into it and enjoy it. Okay? Another thing you should do is to stay socially connected. Socially connected. What do you mean by that? Plan social activities with your friends, with your fellow retirees, with your neighbors. You can have movie nights, you can have games, you can have sports. This will strengthen bonds. These meaningful connections will always help you to avoid a variety of mental health issues. And it will help you to improve the quality of your life. Other thing you can do to avoid the mistake of not being physically and socially active is work your mind. Work your mind. Work your mind. Take activities, take actions that will actually develop your mind, that will actually make you active, strong. You can play games if you can, read book, let mental exercise be your daily, let it be your daily job. Avoid losing focus and sharpness as you get older, because it's very common for people to lose focus, lose sharpness as they are getting older. So take actions to work your mind. Another thing you can do to stay socially and physically active, take a class. I'm very impressed with a whole lot of people, a whole lot of elderlies that actually went back to school. So take a class. You can take a class to improve your cognitive function. Okay, learn, discover new things in your retirement life. It will allow you to use your creative side for improved memory performance. And take note, always prioritize your health. Always prioritize your health. Why? Because due to this unusual transition, remember you're transitioning from an active life to a less active life at retirement. Okay, it can be difficult for some people, but if you have planned ahead of time, transition can be very smooth. You can still maintain a very lively, a very healthy, a very active life at retirement. So maintain good health, monitor your health, Eat nutritious foods, avoid junk food, limit, you know, your alcohol intake. You should, have some medical devices that will help you to actually have a good life at return, that can help you manage and monitor the state of your health. It's very, very important. Remember, there's a quote that says, as you make your bed, so you will lie on it. So what do we do? Make hay while the sun shines. Make hay while the sun shines. Make hay while the sun shines. So we've talked about being house rich but cash poor. We've also talked about not staying physically active, okay? Not staying physically and socially active. Now we are going to the third thing, the third mistake people make: failing to plan for inflation. Failing to plan for inflation. Failing to plan for inflation. Now let's quickly look at it. How do you plan for inflation? What is inflation in the first place? Why should you even plan for inflation? Okay? I can tell you that one word that every pre-retiree should know is inflation. Why is it that? To put it simply, inflation is the rate at which prices of goods and services go up while the value of the currency does what? Goes down. I believe you still remember your economics lectures in secondary school. If you remember, please put that in the comment section. You learned about inflation, and you can tell us a bit about inflation. Inflation, let's repeat, is the rate at which prices for goods and services goes up while the value of the currency goes down. For example, let's say inflation rate, if it's at 4%, we can say that a bottle of water that used to cost a particular amount is costing more today. Okay? If your salary was 200,000 in 2017, you can check it as at 2022, 2024, that is now worth less. The value of that money had dropped, assuming you're still getting 200,000 a month. You realize that it is now worth maybe about 100,000, about 110,000. That means that when there's an inflation, the prices of things goes up. And it doesn't mean that you're having more money. So it's possible that you can assume, oh, ₦1,000,000 is such a big money, but in the next 10 years, how big will ₦1,000,000 be? That's the reason why you need to plan for inflation. Now, let's imagine that you retire at 65 years old with with ₦1,000,000. Okay? If inflation is to remain as a particular percent, let's use 4%, I can tell you that the value of that your ₦1,000,000 will shrink to less than 500,000 in 20 years. So that means that you'll be living on half of your expected income by age 85. So when you think about all the costs that comes with retirement, living expenses, medical expenses, even leisure, I can tell you that the thought of living on half your income should make you sober. Okay? So many retirees, this message is for pre-retirees and retirees. Don't make the mistake of forgetting to calculate for inflation when you're planning for your retirement. It's very important. That's why sticking all your money into a savings account is not just enough. That's why proper investing is very, very crucial. It's the best way for your money to grow. Okay? So keep in mind, I said proper investing is very crucial. Not just about saving your money, but proper investing. So look at good ways. In what ways can you invest your money? How can you invest? How can you plan so that inflation will not affect you? That the rising cost of things will not affect you? What you do is that plan, invest accordingly, have multiple streams of income. Don't fall short of that expectation. Why? Because you owe it to yourself to see that your earnings grow instead of diminishing. It's very, very important. Remember, we have talked about 3 points so far. We've talked about being house rich but cash poor. We've talked about not, staying physically and socially active. We've also talked about failing to plan for inflation. And then the next point we will look at right now is what? Planning to work indefinitely. I'm sure you have seen a whole lot of retirees, a whole lot of elderlies still working. You've seen a lot of security men, a lot of cleaners still working. It's not a plan. You shouldn't plan to work indefinitely. It's one of the biggest mistakes people make that actually affects their finances before and after retirement. So what do we mean? Take note, planning to work indefinitely is not actually a plan. Planning to work indefinitely is not actually a plan. So despite the fact that it's possible to work longer, save more money for retirement, a large percentage of workers, who plan to continue working were forced to retire earlier than expected. So what do? You now realize that more people want to keep working despite retirement. Most people want to work despite age. Most people want to, you know, and if you ask their reasons, you realize that they never planned accordingly for their retirement. And remember, as you're aging, there will be more age discrimination. There will be there may be health issues that will actually affect your work, that will affect your result. So what do? Work hard now. Make hay while the sun shines. Our advice to you is that number one is spend less than you earn now. Now that you're actively working, spend less that you earn. Because when you spend less than you earn, it will help you accomplish your goals. Yes, it may sound simple, it's a very fundamental truth. Why? Whether you want to buy or build a house, travel the world, send your children to college, retire early, increase the gap between your earning and spending, savings, spending less than you earn will actually help you to achieve this faster. It will help you to achieve this better. So spend less than you earn. Another way you can manage this mistake. Remember, we said this mistake of planning to work indefinitely is actually a mistake. You don't need to work indefinitely. You don't need to work indefinitely. And our advice is that spend less than you earn. Number two advice is be disciplined. Be financially disciplined. Okay? Keep track of your spending, keep a journal of your purchases, stay accountable. There are a whole lot of applications to help you manage your expenses. Take advantage of those applications, manage your expenses, and you will be shocked at how much you actually keep, at how much you save. Then another thing you should do to avoid having to work indefinitely, save a percentage of your income. You can decide to save 20% of your income, 30%. It will help you. It will even help you feel less guilty about spending from the bottom if you save first. That's number four now. Invest. The sooner the sooner you begin investing, the longer you have to benefit, okay, from compounding interest. What do you mean? Start investing now. If you start investing later in life, it's a very good, when you start investing earlier in life, it's a very good way to grow the money that you already have. Invest. Number five way, okay? Number five way that you can actually do what? Avoid having to work indefinitely. Pay off your debts. Pay off your debts. When you pay off your debt, it will help to, keep you afloat. Why? Because interest payment can deplete your retirement savings. Okay? So pay off your debt so that you can use your pensions for, your day-to-day expenses. Number 7, make the most use of your pensions benefits. Make the most use of your pensions benefits. What do you mean by that? When you do that, it works best for you and your spouse, you know. So live within your means, maximize opportunities, live well, live a good life, be healthy, and you'll be surprised that you don't need to work again, even as a retiree. Now, another thing that is very important is what? Another idea, number 8, is sell off other items you do not need. Sell off other items you do not need. Okay? You most likely have extra retirement savings, stashed around your house. Sell items, such as your work clothes, unused electronics, collectibles, that you no longer need, or things that you will not need at retirement. Go and bring my power bank. Another thing you can do when we talk about managing, planning, avoiding to work indefinitely, cut out unnecessary expenses. Cut out unnecessary expenses. Daily expenses, even now as you are as a pre-retiree, daily expenses as a retiree can affect you if not managed well. Okay? So what do you mean by that? Manage your expenses, okay, so that it do not consume your retirement savings than you realize. If you're nearing retirement age, start reducing your nice to have, this nice to have, having more than necessary. Okay, sometimes you want to spend money on massage, sometimes you want to spend money on so many things that are not so relevant, but they are just nice to have. Try to avoid unnecessary expenses. Try to avoid unnecessary expenses. Another thing we should also look at is exercise financial resilience. Exercise financial resilience. What do we mean by exercising financial resilience? Okay, ensure that you have proper financial plan. What do you mean by proper financial plan? Make sure that your plans are subject to, just realize that your plans are subject to fate and fortune. Take note, your plans are subject to fate and fortune. Something can happen and it affects you financially. So what do we do in that case? You may lose your job, your spouse can become ill, your house can be burnt down. So it's very, very possible. I mean, while it is very impossible to plan for, unforeseen events, also plan for problems in general. Plan for the best, but be conscious that something else can happen. Be conscious that something else can happen. So what's the best way to practice financial resilience? The best way is to do what? Practice what I call, like I said again, financial resilience. What do you mean by financial resilience? It's the ability to deal with unexpected without panic. Let me repeat myself. Financial resilience is the ability to deal with the unexpected without panic. That means that you had planned. As you're planning, you're expecting the best, you're expecting the worst. What happens if the worst occurs? You must be resilient, okay? So there are lots of factors that actually influence financial resilience. Okay, your earnings versus spending, like we mentioned earlier, a loss of job, fire outbreak, the death of a spouse, or the sickness of a spouse, or sickness of on your own. All this can affect you. So what do? Diversify your expenses, diversify your investment. Now, remember, we've talked a lot today. We've talked about some mistakes people make that actually affect their retirement. And what are these mistakes that we've itemized in today's episode? They are: number one, being house rich but cash poor. We've talked about it, we've described it, we've itemized it. We talked about the what it means, the implications, and what to do about it. We've also talked about not staying physically and socially active. That's one of the biggest mistakes people make. The third one that we've talked about is failing to plan for inflation. We've discussed this extensively. So that means all you need to do is take your time and go over this webinar again. It will go a long way to help you build, a long way to help you have a very much better retirement life. Because it's very common with a lot of people when they are young. Retirement seems so far away. Retirement seems a long way off. But I can tell you, every single day, every new day is drawing you closer to retirement. So take advantage of that and plan accordingly. Okay? Because if you start early, amass wealth, you will even be able to quit your job. You can quit a bad job, you can move to a new city, you can take a year off, you can enjoy. But if you put off starting to save, what happens? You leave yourself vulnerable to the whims of fate. But remember, there's good news for you. A stitch in time saves nine. We said earlier, make hay while the sun shines. Work towards avoiding these mistakes, and you will surely have the best of retirement life. Another mistake people make is planning to work indefinitely. And if you can remember what we talked about, we've mentioned so many ways you can prevent yourself from working indefinitely. We've talked about being disciplined, spending less than you earn. We've talked about being disciplined. We've talked about saving a fixed percentage of your income. We talked about investing, invest accordingly. We talked about paying off your debt. When you pay off your debt, you're going to have a very good retirement life. You may not need to work indefinitely. Make the most of your pensions benefit. What you get at retirement, make the best of it. Then sell off items you do not need. Okay, cut out unnecessary expenses. Exercise financial resilience. Remember, we said financial resilience is the ability to deal with the unexpected without panic. It's the ability to deal with the unexpected without panic. I hope you've had value in today's class. Please put your questions in the comment section. I'm looking out for your comments. I'm looking out for your questions, and be assured that we are going to reply every one of them. And we are here and ready to help you out on anything that concerns retirement. And please, we'll finalize here with some retirement lies that people believe. There are some lies people believe about retirement. Excuse me. Now, one of the lies, I'll just talk about two or three. Some people say, I can't afford it. I can't afford a good retirement life. It's a lie. Because if you plan well, if you plan ahead, you will have the best of retirement age. You have the best of your golden years. And that lie is that people say, I'm so young. There's plenty of time to save. I'll do that later. No, 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 no. Start planning for retirement now. Start working towards your retirement now. Now, some another lie people say is that, hey, I deserve to have fun with my money today. I work hard for it. Please, yes, I agree with you. Have fun with your money. Yes, I know you worked hard for it, but plan for retirement. It's very, very important. So other people say, oh, I have a big inheritance coming my way. Someday, a big inheritance. Please don't depend on inheritance, depend on the real deal. Okay. So people say, I need to get my kids through school for then I can focus on planning for retirement. No, please do all of them at the same time. As you're putting your kids through schools, be planning for retirement at the same time. Make up for that, and you sure have a very great retirement. I believe you've had a lot of value today. I believe you've had a lot of questions. Please drop your questions in the comment room. We are here for you. I'm already checking out the comment section for your questions. Checking out for your questions. Okay. I'm checking out for your questions. Okay. No questions so far. But if you have anyone after now, please drop it and we'll sure treat them all. And remember, we are here as your advisory, to advise, to guide. We can manage your pensions. We can give you the best of directions when it comes to your pensions and having a good retirement life. So DM us, okay, while we will work with you to plan well. Thank you. Remain blessed and do have a very wonderful day, wonderful afternoon, wonderful evening, wonderful night. We love you. Bye bye.